I think it's been a historic year and it's been a historic election. But in terms of a moment that I'll look back on and kind of realize you witnessed history, ugly as it was, it's probably the most impactful moment I've had on what was already a very bizarre campaign trail. So originally, I wasn't even sure if I was going to go to DC. I covered the presidential election kind of through the lens of Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania voters, and I was just curious about all these reports of lots of busloads of Trump supporters headed to DC. So I was working on a story that in which I interviewed some people who were DC bound, and one of the organizers, mentioned, well, if you want to tag along, you're welcome. So I met everybody before dawn in the parking lot of a Bass Pro fishing and hunting supply parking lot. And I would say, people were kind of like sleepy but excited. It had a very sort of reunion vibe. A lot of people said they had been to Trump rallies before, and it was just nice to be among like-minded people again. There was a hopefulness that somehow something would happen that day to change the results of the election. And that's not to say that anyone on that bus stormed the Capitol. I can definitively say they did not, because I was with them. However, I think it was, sort of looking back, a sign that, that there was a feeling of that this was the last stand in terms of the election, and that obviously we saw in some cases his most extreme followers really responded in extreme ways. I would say, we got off the bus around 10:30 in the morning. President Trump was speaking around noonish. So it was about getting there in time to hear him speak. It was still a very kind of excited atmosphere with, just seeing how many people had showed up. And I don't think it was until after Trump's speech that there seemed to be a shift in tone and in intensity. I realized that things were taking a turn when I saw how many people were kind of behind me, still coming to the Capitol. And then when some people started like climbing up the walls and getting over the balustrades, there was a lot of like cheering in the crowd. There was a lot of stand your ground, but I had no cell service. I had no reason to think that the Capitol would have been breached. And then once the tear gas started and people started kind of rushing toward the building because they saw people going over the wall, that's when I realized that it was a much more dangerous situation. I think I had to sort of keep telling myself to report, while also having moments of, I think I need to back up, or I think I need to get to slightly higher ground. But I think at that point, the story shifted to what is going on around me and how are people reacting, because I was struck by this sort of celebratory nature of a lot of the folks around me. And that's even before I think we realized the extent of what happened. So I was focused on, a woman next to me says, "God bless America." So I turn to her and I say, "Oh, I'm a reporter. What made you say that in this moment?" So I think it's just it was just trying to capture what was happening best I could, and what the reaction to it was, while also kind of keeping myself safe. I hope that some of the misinformation about the media is maybe put to bed, that people see we're trying to report the truth. We're trying to report the facts, whether it's what happened in Pennsylvania's election or what happened on Capitol Hill. And for someone like me who covers predominantly voters, even in the most impossible of times, I think I'm genuinely trying to help all of us understand, maybe not where people are coming from, but the makeup of Pennsylvania's electorate and who those folks are, and kind of the reality of where we are right now. I think it's really important to talk to voters and to kind of get on buses like that, to show, you know, what the feelings and thoughts and even misinformation is on the ground.